I broke it. That Jeff. Say a prayer. There we go. Introduction of our special guest today we have here. At the very end of the table, my right, your left, we have Dennis Manzella, Immediate Past President. We have Lee Owens, Financial Secretary. At section 4, we have Pastor Jeff Franks, within the church. Today, joining me today for the first time in the White Baby Burner. We have Jack Rose, who'll be an urgent speaker pretty soon here. We have, as long as Jack Rose will bring here, we have our speaker today will be Lee Owens, a former football coach and an author. I'd like to recognize our sponsors for this year. We have a few sponsors already this year coming up for us. We have Alt Care, Primetime Health Plan, Dr. Peter Ferguson, the Marion Motley Memorial Scholarship Fund, and Wilkshire Golf Course. Give them all a hand. My first announcement here, I'm going to call Dennis Manzella for a special presentation.
Good afternoon. As past president, I have one more official duty to perform today, and that is to present Jeff Burnham with the club president sport jacket. Jeff?
This one fits a little better than the old one. I think this one old one shrunk probably down there. That's all it is. So thank you, kid. Thank you, Dennis, for past leadership, and I hope to fulfill what you did in past year. So thank you very much. Get my glasses here. A few announcements here today. Most of you probably, of course, today you renewed your membership. If you did renew your membership, you got yourself a little wine cooler here, tumbler with the club logo on it. If you know someone that hasn't renewed yet, or listening online or watching us, renew your membership. The first 250 people get these in person. It'll be in person here. Renew in the back. You'll get your little gift for us today. So thank you for renewing. Couple of announcements. Football this weekend. We had some great football games. Going out again. There we go. I moved the cord a little bit. Is that it?
Nope.
There we go. There we go. Don't touch it. We had some great football games. The Buckeyes doing well. Off to a good start here. Good close game 2 weeks ago. This week, not so close. It is what it is when college football. Pro football started yesterday. Of course, the Browns didn't win because of kicking. But I guess the other teams win because of kicking, too. So there's some good games here on the pro football start of the season. High school football doing great this year. Some teams doing really good. They did do good in the past. Some teams are out there doing really well. It's good to see some high school teams doing well that haven't done well in the past. It's good to see that as well. With us today, we have Sam Berkwin with 1310 WPDN, DPN, sorry, and also Q92 Sports helping us today, do some broadcasting for us today. We welcome them. Thank you, Sam Berkwin. Also, a couple of guys left their membership cards. I have them in the back for you. That when you got your mug renewed, you left your purple membership card. Don Cooley and Richard Royer might have left your card. When you see me in the back, at the end, one of us in the back, I left your card for you. Left your membership card back there. One thing I'm not sure if I'm going to do a quote like Dennis did in the past. I know, trying to think what to do for announcements. I'm going to say, let's have a great year this year. Let's have fun. Be kind to one another. Let's just have fun this year. Have a great club this year, great meeting this year for a luncheon club. We have some club members, as of course mentioned by Jeff Franks, the desk we had, and started to hear that. We do have one note from one of the members that passed away this past year. This is from Rob DeWolf. His father was a Jack Welch. Left a note for us to read. Is with recent passing of Dad, Jack Welch, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you with my heartfelt thanks. Dad is a member of the Luncheon Club for more than 3 decades. In his final years, few things gave him more pleasure and more enjoyment than gathering with all of you on Mondays. I accompanied him during that time, all the way until he was 90 years old. Now, I'll forever be grateful for the kindness so many showed to him by just stopping by and saying hello or holding the door open as we made our way to our seats. When I spoke to the club a couple of years ago, I mentioned how proud I was that my hometown had such a tremendous example of fellowship. That pride only grew as I attended more and more meetings with my dad. And now I'm proud to be a member of the club. So thank you so much and the best wishes for an enjoyable season. If the opportunity arises, I will make my way on Monday from Columbus soon. I know in spirit, Dad will be with me. This is from all the best, Rob DeWolf. Okay, also we mentioned too, I think we had one person in the hospital, I guess, Dean DeChellis is in the hospital, hoping to come soon, home soon. Today's raffle drawing is $199, $199 for the winner. Bill Costello has the money. We'll do a drawing here pretty soon. Give it a spin. Thank you. The winner of $199 is ticket number 280051.
Yep.
That's 3051. 0051. Way in the back, I think it is.
They've been getting lucky.
I guess Bill got it. Way in the back up there. Thank you. Next week's speaker will be Jeff Dart, head football coach of Mount Union, next week. So come out for that. And today, to introduce our guest, to introduce the speaker, will be Jack Rose.
Well, it's good to be back. It's a lot of familiar faces. And I do have a factoid. For you people, years ago, I started this program with a factoid, and I have one today. The American Football Coaches Association is the largest football association in the country, with probably 12,000 members. And during its 104-year history, there's only been 6 coaches in the state of Ohio that have been the president of that association. 2 have coached in Stark County. You know who they are. Well, no, Pat, but that's a good guess. The 2 coaches are Larry Karras in 2010 and Lee Owens in 2016. So that's quite an honor. Before I go any further, where's the guys that always boo me on the factoid? Coach Owens started his coaching career at Crestview High School as an assistant coach for 2 years. And after 2 years, he became the head coach at Crestview. He was there for 2 years as the head coach, and then he went from Crestview to Galleon High School, where he spent 4 years as the head coach. And in 1985, going 14-0 and winning the Division II state championship against a great Cardinal Mooney team. From there, he went to Lancaster High School, where he spent 1 year. And then from Lancaster, he became the 22nd head coach of the Masson Tigers. His 4 years there, he went to the state semifinals twice. In 1989 and 91. Probably would have won the state championship in 91 had he had a better defensive coordinator. Audacious on that final drive. From there, after serving 4 years as the head coach at Massillon, he went to Ohio State as an assistant coach under John Cooper, where he coached the offensive tackles and tight ends. After 3 years there, he went to the University of Akron in 2005 as the head coach and spent 9 years at Akron, where he won the East Division of the MAC in 2000. After his tenure at Akron, he went to Ashland University in 2004 and spent 19 years before retiring in 2022. During his time in Massillon, he won 5 championships, 4 in the GLIAC, which is probably, at that time, was probably the best Division II conference in the country. And then he won one in the GMAC his last year at Ashland. During his career as a head coach, he won 266 games. That's a lot of games, Coach. He's won 17 Coaches Awards. Most recently, in 2024, he was elected into the Ohio High School Football Coaches Association Hall of Fame. In his retirement, his hobbies are fishing and hunting. And now he's an author, which we'll talk about more later. He's a motivational speaker. He's a great football coach. But more importantly, he's a great person. Please welcome Coach Lee Owens.
We all know Jack Rose is a hell of a football coach. Much better than a speaker. He was a football coach. I love Jack, believe me. He did a great job for us that last year there at Massillon. And, you know, we share fraternity of coaching together at Massillon. Being a head coach at Massillon, one of the greatest fraternities I think we share is the fact that we were both hired by a legendary superintendent, Al Paris. I'm not sure if Al's here today or not, but I think most of you know Al Paris, and I don't think, Jack, we could have ever worked for a better guy than Al Paris. We've also shared some great boosters that are here, and it was always supportive. Raleigh Layfield, I saw come up a few minutes ago, that just supported our teams, supported our families, and really took care of the coaches when we spent that time. And Massillon as a coach, I'm always honored and humbled to be here. Not at all offended that the first 4 guys you asked for this first meeting turned you down. And I was the last guy on the calling list that you could get a hold of. But I mentioned to my wife of 51 years last night, I said, I mean, who am I to speak at that Hall of Fame luncheon? All those speakers they have come in from all over. And she said, nobody. She did. I said, well, I don't think I'm worthy. And she said, you're not. So, Jack, he knows Diane. So, I say a prayer every day where I do ask God to make me worthy of the opportunities He's given me as a speaker, as a coach, as a father, a husband, a friend. Prayer is a powerful tool. Always answered, not necessarily answered how we think it might be answered or hope that it'll be answered. I use the example of the guy who's on the big grizzly bear hunt. He goes to shoot the grizzly bear. Doesn't phase, he goes to shoot him again, and the rifle jams, so he throws the rifle at the bear. It doesn't slow him down, so he turns around, he runs as fast as he can run, faster he can run. The closer that bear was getting to him, he came to the cliff, he looked straight down. So he dropped on his knees, he said, "Dear Lord, make this a Christian bear." And he looked over, and there was that bear, had its paws folded, blessed his foods, and nourished him. Simon & Schuster, the publishers out of New York, launched the marketing of this book just 6 days ago on September 2nd, which is kind of cool. RJ called me to speak. It was great timing because I was really looking for the opportunity to get out in front of a group and share the book and promote the book. And he said, "Yeah, sure, go ahead and do that." So I do have a videographer here who works with Hustle, a marketing company that goes out and promotes and does social media, promoting high school teams and other sporting events. And Wes is going to go ahead. He has me mic'd up, and he's going to put all this on tape. My goal is to have a video of talking about the book, promoting the book, that we can put on the book website and hopefully sell some more books and get an opportunity to speak more often. Now, guys, listen. I'm paying for this video program, okay? So I really need you to set up, get on the edge of your seats, keep your eyes open, not leave early, act like you're interested, act like you're being inspired. And if you want to give a standing ovation at the end, I'm okay with that. All right? Feel free to. The book is titled The Spirit of the Team. Successful CEOs and coaches share their strategies for achieving excellence. The book comes from, idea for the book comes from a book I had called The Edge. I don't know how many coaches in here might have had that book. Howard Ferguson, wrestling coach at St. Ed's High School in Cleveland, won multiple championships. He wrote a book with tons of motivational messages and motivational quotes and stories about so many folks that were inspiring. And I think every coach in America had that book on their desk and would go to as a reference. And I was hoping to try to do something similar with this book, full of motivational messages, motivational quotes. I did a little bit different. A lot of the folks that Howard Ferguson talked about in his book were maybe guys he didn't know. They were just superstars, celebrities, heroes in the world of sport and business. And what I wanted to try to do is I wanted to try to promote different players that I had coached or coaches I had worked with or businessmen that had worked with me and take and talk and feature a story of each one of them before each chapter. But it had to be guys I had a relationship with because I wanted to interview them and I wanted to get their real story. And a lot of times their stories were personal. They were willing to share that with us as we put the book together. The stories were always inspirational. There was never any doubt about that. And as I put the book together, and it would focus more on team building than other motivational aspects, and it simply became a step-by-step, tried and true plan on how you build team excellence. And the stories of all the coaches and players and business people that I had been a part of in my coaching career really validate the lessons in those building blocks. Players who went on to become All-Americans, All-Pros, future NFL Hall of Famers, Heisman Trophy winners, like guys like Charlie Fry and Eddie George and Jason Taylor, Orlando Pace and Corey Stringer, guys I had a chance to coach, and their stories were unbelievable and what they went on to do. Even coaches at all levels that I had a chance to talk to, from the high school level, talking to Nate Moore and recapturing that 23 championship, and he's National Coach of the Year. Larry Karras, Division III. We talk about Larry. No one's ever won more football games at any level than Larry Karras. Talk about Luke Fickell. Luke was a coach with me at Akron. I coached him when he was at Ohio State, and obviously what he's been able to do and what he's doing now as a Power 5 coach at Wisconsin. And even Matt LaFleur. Believe it or not, Matt LaFleur was on my staff 10 years ago at Ashland. 10 years later, he's having a heck of a career as the head football coach of the Green Bay Packers. Actually had a pretty big win last night, I think, against the Lions, if you had a chance to watch any of that. So those are some of the guys that I really feature in the book before each chapter. And even some of the CEOs. There's a Carl Johnson, young man that played for me at Guyana State Championship. Now is, he runs a private equity company. His story's incredible. There's a guy named Matt Collig. You guys follow Leaf Builder, CEO at all. A guy does more advertising, I think, than anybody else. And he's a great philanthropist in Northeast Ohio. Matt Collig was the quarterback when I went to Akron after I replaced Jerry Faust. He was Jerry Faust's starting quarterback. I'm not starting this guy. I'm going to bring in some shot to play, which was a mistake because we couldn't win a game with the guys I brought in. And I tried to run Matt off. I did everything I could possibly do to try to run Matt off. And he was just determined he wasn't going to quit. He was only one of two seniors didn't quit the team. And stayed was a scout team quarterback my first year. But when you listen to his story, you can understand why he's had the success in life that he's had, business success that he's had since he left, he's graduated from the University of Akron. A guy by the name of Dan Niss, who's president of Charter Next Generation. His son played for me at Ashland, and he built us an indoor facility, which is pretty cool. A story about Dwight Shaw. I don't know how many people follow Dwight Shaw. He's the largest home builder in America. He was the founder of NVR, and Dwight Shaw played at Ashland, and so in just a short time I was at Ashland, 19 years, he donated over $25 million to the university, including building us a stadium. So those are stories of people that get featured before each chapter as we start going through those building blocks to team excellence. What I also like to do is tell some stories in the book that I shared with these players and coaches and businessmen. Some of the stories are tough. Some of these stories are really difficult, filled full of heartbreak. I mean, that loss at Ignatius, that's a tough story to talk about. I can tell you a game we were Charlie Fryer was quarterback for him. We were beating Miami. We go up by 1 point with 15 seconds left to go. We kick the ball to him, and 2 plays later, Ben Roethlisberger throws a 65-yard Hail Mary to beat us. Those are tough times you talk about. And not just some of the games. I talk about some of the heartbreak I experienced. We went through COVID. Can you imagine as a football coach going through COVID and having your staff furloughed and having your season canceled and having to try to fight through that and keep everything together? Unbelievable, difficult times. Maybe the toughest thing for me in coaching at all was going through the story when I was fired at Akron. We just won 7 games at the MAC at Akron. Now, believe me, 7 games at the MAC at Akron is pretty good. And you get fired. But with that heartbreak, there were also some times of euphoria. The Massillon win over Kinley my first year, where we, got into overtime and won the game and built a new high school. The win over Ohio State with Luke Fickell, John Cooper's first win against Michigan. What a great win that was. The win we had, I was coaching at Akron against Navy. We were down 31 points at Navy for homecoming. Roger Staubach brings the game ball, and we had no chance. And we come back and score 36 of the next points and beat them at the end of the game for actually give us our 6th win, our first winning season. But those are the kind of stories I like to tell in the book, and they really do validate what we're talking about. A lot of the podcasts I went out to recently, they really just asked me 3 questions about the book, and pretty consistently tried to answer 3 questions. The first question is, why'd you write the book? Why now? The second question, why this book? And the third question, who's it for? Who's going to read it? Why would they read it? Well, the first question is, why did I write the book now? It's because I had time. I retired, and after a 45-year coaching career, you have a void in your life of some time. Coaching takes up a lot of time. And so I really got tired of cleaning and sweeping the garage, going out and playing bogey golf every day, and figured I needed to do something else. I mean, it wasn't as bad as one of my coaching buddies. He called me up and he said, Coach, do you notice when you quit coaching, your phone quits ringing? I go, so we as coaches, we're always on the phone, talking to our players, talking to recruits, talking to businessmen, boosters, you name it, alumni. I said, yeah, I noticed that. He said, I was so bored. He said, one day, so desperate. He said, I started calling the telemarketers back. I wasn't quite to that level, right? Just, as Ron knows, I do like to hunt, I do like to fish, I do like to golf. And I have 12 grandkids. So it wasn't like we've ever been bored. But even with the opportunity to live on a boat and golf every day, there was still that void that was there. And I've always been a guy who tried to like new experience and the challenge of new experience. And a challenge that would really make you be at your best at whatever you would do. That's why I think part of the reason that I coached 8 different places. I moved our family 8 different times into 8 different communities, 8 different schools, and 8 different sets of friends. My mother-in-law was convinced I couldn't keep a job. Seriously. Thank goodness Diane was a great coach's wife, because in coaching, there are only 2 types of wives. Coaches' wives and ex-wives. And she was a very, very good coaching wife. But I wanted to write this book, and I knew it'd be really hard to get that done, but at the same time, I'd had some experience. In 1999, well, at Akron, I wrote a book called Blood, Sweat, and Championship, and it was kind of a team guide to winning. It was really focused just towards the Akron Zips and the alumni and that team and those players, and we kind of used that as a basis to go on and literally win a championship in 2000. We used the principles we put together in that book. And it was good. It was good to be able to do that. Blood, Sweat, and Championship was a chant we took from Andre McCray, our team captain, who played for Coach Flossie at Bookto, and it was one that kind of stuck with the team and really carried us on to that successful season we had. But I wanted to write the book. I was convinced I was going to do that, even though I knew it was going to be hard to do. There was no question about that. 70%, I've read this, 70% of people who start to write a book, either they don't finish, or they don't get published, or they lose money. My wife was convinced I'd hit one of those three goals, that was what's going to happen. But fortunately, we got through the whole thing. We haven't made any money yet, but we'll find out what happens. Did I lose you? We good? Yeah. Okay? No. Now we lost it. Okay, how about now? I try not to touch it. Better? Yeah. We're back. Okay, I'll try to stay away from the best I can. How about now? Wes, can we edit this out? I don't know.
Came for a second.
How about now? There you go. Now? No? There. Now? Now? I'm just trying to hold it. I don't know what to do, guys. How about now?
Yep.
At least we help out there. Move this over here. How about now? Okay.
Jeff just can't.
Right? Okay, I'll try to get through this here pretty quick. I'm going to save some time for questions here at the end. So, I wanted to write this book, and again, I was getting a hard time from everybody. I had one buddy jab me, he's like, "Hey, Coach, don't you have to read a book before you write one?" I said, "Come on, give me a break. We're going to be okay. We're going to be okay." So, but anyhow, that's why now. The next question is why this book, and I started writing this book 45 years ago, but it wasn't until 2016 when I attended the CEO Coach of the Year banquet in New York City that was put on by the AFCA. I was president in 2016. And our honoree was David Cody, who was the CEO of Honeywell. And he brought along a young man I knew very well, Carl Johnson, who was that quarterback for Michigan, and he had become his president of industrial safety at Honeywell. And Cody had told me how Carl had shared with him the influence I'd had on him as a football coach in Gallium. Maybe I told you this story here before, but Carl was one of those guys who really didn't have a chance in life without football. I remember David Cody told me at that time that Carl had really become his Tom Brady in his business in Honeywell. And I said, well, he was my Tom Brady in the state championship game. And actually now, chapter 1, we stole that, is Finding Your Tom Brady, with Carl featured in that story. But Carl had a tough life. And again, he didn't have a chance to make it without football. But he had told Cody that I'd been there for him and believed in him and helped him get to where he was at that time with his business career, his football opportunity, his educational opportunity. So it's a great story. But most importantly, made me realize the purpose that I coach. I've been asked a bunch of times in my coaching career, why? What's your greatest legacy? What validates you as a coach? Well, was it a championship at Ohio State or a championship at Akron or the number of wins that you have? What is that really validates you? Better? Might have to launch it right here. And I said no. It was believing in this kid when no one else did. And we as coaches coach to be dealers of hope and to use our power of influence to try to help the youngsters, go as far as they possibly can go. And that's what we wanted to do. I've had 8 jobs, but at 6 jobs I was the head football coach. And And I was hired to go in and turn things around and win. And in all 6 schools, the challenges were different, but the messages was the same. And it was basically, you were able to walk in there and go to those team meetings and say, man, we're going to be winners. You're going to win both on and off the field. And we're going to achieve excellence. And the motivation for each team was always the same. We always motivated them to try to be the best they could possibly be and reach that highest level of excellence. You know, players, none of us are going to be ultimately motivated by fame and fortune. You know, there's a lot of money in college football today. I think you all know this. Some people think too much, and I happen to agree with them. But when you talk, you try to sell motivations, it's as simple as trying to get from this point to this point. And what you have to do as a coach is you have to convince that athlete that all the work and all the effort and all the time is worthwhile to get to that point. And a lot of times coaches don't do that. They don't sell the vision and the value of where you want to end up. And if you do that, again, motivation is really, that's what I have a chapter written on Motivation 101 and talking about. And that's the one last thing I'll say in this section is that it's not just about winning and being successful. It's about winning with excellence. And there's a true difference, there's a true distinction. To win without excellence, it's short-term and it's external. It can be lost on the team or the individual or the community. But when you win with excellence, you become a team of significance, a team of purpose, a team of destiny, a team that becomes a life lesson. And that's the reason I wrote the book. And finally, can I finish with this? We got time to do this? Okay, I finished with this. Why would you read the book? If you're not a football coach or a CEO, what's in this book for me? Well, I would say it this way. First of all, I would think that all of us here are part of a team. It's one team or another. It was one place or another. And all of us here, I think, would like to see that team, whether it's this club or whatever team, function as well as we possibly can. I could say it a little better, but the guy who said it the best, can you hold this up for a second? Yeah. You can hold this for me. Is Jim Tressel. You guys know who Jim Tressel is? Yeah. Jim Tressel is the lieutenant governor, obviously, not just former Ohio State football coach or president of Youngstown State University, but he's the lieutenant governor of Ohio. So he wrote the foreword, and so here's that reason why this book might be for you. Here's what Coach Tressel said in the book. Whether you're building your team at home, your business, your nonprofit organization, your sports team, your community, you're serving your great nation, the lessons shared in the spirit of the team will be extremely valuable as you seek to reach your full potential. So if you're going to be a part of a team, and most of you are, and you want to reach your full potential, the lessons you can learn in this book about being part of a team or leading a team would be valuable to anyone. The other thing that I believe in the book that's really important is that I think not only do we talk about team excellence in athletics, but there's also a thing just as important, and that is excellence in life and the life lessons of excellence. So the last chapter in the book is titled The Final Word, A Lasting Legacy. And I share the story of a women's basketball coach from Ashland University. I think she spoke here in the past. Her name is Sue Ramsey. Sue Ramsey won the National Division II Girls National Championship at Ashland, Ohio. Now talk about a powerful legacy at Ashland University. Powerful legacy. Her assistant coach, Robin Fraley, maybe Robin spoke here also, went on to win a national championship after Sue retired. Robin went on then to go to Bowling Green and win a MAC championship. Now she's the women's basketball coach at Michigan State. And replacing Robin Fraley was Carrie Doherty. Carrie Doherty played for Sue and coached for Robin, and she won a national championship at Ashland University in Division II. That's legacy, and that's powerful. But Sue would agree if I would tell you this. Sue's legacy has never been about winning a national championship. Her legacy has always been the strength, her spiritual strength, and her ability to truly be dedicated to all those people around her. That's legacy. I get a chance to tell that story about Sue Ramsey at the end of the book. In my chapter on legacy, I also get to tell a story about a guy I'm sure many of you are familiar with, Judd Logan from North Canton. The family there's a great family, athletic family, unbelievable people. Judd was track and field coach for a lot of the years I was at Ashland, and he passed away, unfortunately, in 2003. Judd had gone through the Olympics as a hammer thrower. Judd had won national championships at indoor and outdoor track and field. But when I read the story of Judd in the repository after he passed, they said his legacy wasn't the Olympics as a hammer thrower. His legacy wasn't the national championships. Judd's legacy was that of a light giver, and his legacy was that the next coach would be that person who would pass that torch on to become that person who recognized athletes and were there for athletes and supported athletes. That's the story of a lasting legacy. See, legacy in our life will never, ever be about, and this is how I finished the book, will never, ever be about fame or fortune, how much money we make. I really think legacy, more than anything else, is about relationships. Specifically, the relationships you have with family and friends. I honestly believe when we're at those gates, pearly gates, and trying to get into heaven, and St. Peter's asking questions, he's not going to ask about how many rings we have, or how big a car we own, or how much money we have. But I do believe he'll ask us, what kind of coach were you? What kind of friend were you? What kind of father were you? What kind of husband were you? What kind of relationships did you work at that really gained significance? Legacy is all we can take with us when we leave this world is those things that we give to others. And it's really important that we invest in things that's going to be here long after we're not here. That's the importance of legacy. That's what I think we all want to have in life. If we live a life of excellence, just like become a team of excellence, it's significant in its purpose that you have in life that you don't have otherwise without that excellence, without that legacy. You don't have the legacy, I think, in life you'd really like to have, or as a team, or as a person in life. And that's the last part of the chapter. Regardless of what philosophy or what religion you follow in life, at the core of every philosophy and every religion is the belief that the number one cause in life is for us to serve others, for us to be there for others, for us to help others. That's truly legacy. Let me finish with this here. The very last chapter, the very last paragraph in that chapter on lasting legacy, I say this: there's a little difference in achieving team excellence and excellence in life. After all, we're all on the same team, God's team. For every team and every individual, each day is a new day. The importance of each new day and the choices we make within it will determine our excellence in life. And then that last motivational message I leave in the book after so many others, thanks man, is the beginning of a new day. Maybe you've heard this before. It really sums it all up. This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use thy will. I can waste it or use it for good. What I do today is very important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving something in its place I traded for it. I want it to be gain, not loss, good, not evil, success, not bitter, and I shall not forget the price I paid for it. This is the beginning of a new day. I challenge you all to find a lasting legacy and a life of excellence. And I will have these books in the back later. Be more glad to sign, sell, if you're interested in picking up a book. If not, if you want to get it some other time, you can get on Amazon, Lee Owens, Spirit of 18, and you can pick one up. I also want to remind everyone in here that on September 23rd, I believe is the date, the Massillon Museum will be having a book signing. A lot of the ex-Massillon coaches will be there. Coach Moore will be there, and we're going to have a chance to talk about some of the Massillon stories that we have in the book. That's on September 23rd, Wednesday night. So that's it. Let's try to do we have time for a couple questions before we finish up here? Okay. Let me try to hold this down. Okay. Okay. Could have done this the whole time. Okay, here we go. What questions do we have? I'll repeat it when you set them this way. I'm sorry about rambling through that and kind of being choppy in the presentation, but I appreciate you paying attention and listening. Yes?
At what point in your life did you realize you wanted to be a coach? Was it high school or junior high or?
I was going to go to college to be an attorney, and I was studying pre-law and graduated early. I graduated 3 years in undergraduate school, and then I needed to just teach and coach for a year before I went to law school, and I taught and coached that first year, and I couldn't believe they were paying me to do it. So I don't know what else I could do, and so I just continued to pursue that career as a coach. I think I might have made a lot more money as an attorney, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure we had as much fun as we had, Jack. But that's kind of how it happened with me. And obviously, I never thought I would be writing books, but I did start this business. You know, it's called Coach's Playbook, and I was trying to fill some of the void in the time I had. Going out and become a motivational speaker and team culture coach, and I understood at that time that if I would write what would become a best-selling book, that would have a significant impact on my business. So that's kind of one of the other reasons for this book, and we'll see what happens. It's sold pretty good so far, early, but I'm sure once you all buy 40 or 50 copies here today, it'll be even better. Any other questions? Yes.
What's your main feeling as a coach, besides winning? What was your intent?
Besides winning, what was my intent? I mean, there's nothing more important than winning. I say in the book, I a whole chapter talk about winning and success and how to get into excellence, but I mean, and there's social scientists say that you learn more from a loss than from a win. I totally disagree. I don't think you learn anything from a loss. No, I mean, nothing good happens after you lose. You win, I mean, my goodness, there's nobody in the training room. You lose, nobody calls you. I mean, it's all about, you know, we're going to welcome back all of our championship teams this year. And actually, we're not welcoming back any of those mediocre teams we had. I mean, you got to win. But at the same time, I think there's a line that you draw. It's not win at all costs. It's not cheat. It's not, if you're not cheating, you're not trying. But it is about giving your very best and never accepting anything less than being the best, than being number one, win the championship. Nothing else is good. Basically, it's a curse that I have. That I'm competitive, and I never want to finish second. I never want to lose. That's probably what made it really hard for me at the end of my coaching career, is that we got to a point where even losing a couple games a year was a lot tougher to swallow than it was winning 9 or 10 games a year. That's just how it was. That and the whole image and likeness thing has started to filter all the way down to the Division II level, which made it almost impossible to coach athletes today. Yes?
Yeah, who is the one mentor that you've had that you consider like the most indispensable, and why?
Wow, so it's a great question. Mentor, and for me, it would have been my high school football coaches, and both of them have connections up here. My one high school football coach was Pete Hyman. He's a Massillon guy. He was the head coach. We played and obviously I played the position he played when he was in high school, and I was his captain, and he taught me a lot about toughness and about character. The other was my defensive coordinator, my defensive position coach. Believe it or not, it was Keith Wakefield at Mansfield Madison, and I learned a lot about passion playing for Coach Wakefield. I tell a story in the book where Coach Wakefield wasn't real happy one day with how my forearm shiver looked, so he demonstrated on me what a forearm shiver was supposed to look like. The guy, the chapter on passion is, man, you got to believe it, you got to believe it, you got to love it, you got to love it, you got to love it, man. And I learned that initially from Coach Wakefield, that passion. So I try to hire coaches with passion. Matt LaFleur, who's coaching in Green Bay, is an unbelievably passionate guy. Tim Rose, who's still the defensive coordinator at Ashland, unbelievable passionate guy. I even tell the story at the very end of that book, that chapter on passion, about Corey Stringer. Unbelievable player, sudden death, heat stroke in Minnesota, second and third year up there with the Vikings. I attended the services in Warren, Ohio, and all the Warren guys come back from that state title team, and all the Ohio State guys from the Big Ten championship team were there. Chris Carter was there, and Dennis Green was there, and they all spoke on his behalf. You couldn't get all the people into the chapel that day. There were speakers out in the parking lot for Corey. The thing that struck with me more than anything else is when his father spoke up, stood up right at the very end of the talk, and he said, Corey was a football player. He played the game he loved, and he loved the game he played. That was passion. And Corey Stringer would go out, didn't matter if it was, the parking lot at Walmart or Ohio Stadium in front of 100,000 fans, and he played the same way, just loved playing the game. That whole chapter on passion talks about we have to surround ourselves with people in life who enjoy life, enjoy the game, enjoy playing the game, because they're your best coaches and they're your best players. And Keith Bakewood was a part of teaching me that right out of the very beginning, that you have to be passionate about what you do in life. Yes?
What do you think of the NIL?
I hate it. It's terrible. It's like I said, I was talking with Jack earlier, it's, as a college coach over all those years, you work your tail off to get guys to school, because they're basically to get them there. But then it's now become a point where you get kissed about every day to keep them there. And if you do things that upset them or they don't like, basically try to take the team over or threaten to leave, jump on the portal. You add the portal to the image and likeness, is a horrible combination. And so I couldn't coach like that anymore. Right? Guys threatened to quit if we didn't do this or didn't do that. And I sent them down the hallway to see the AD, because you can't lead a team like that. You can't have the players on the team deciding what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. And I didn't have enough money just to give them more money to keep them there, So we weren't going to argue about whether or not we're going to hit on Thursdays if I was coaching, and this is what we're going to do. So I think it's going to get solved sooner than later. I talk to a lot of the friends I have and colleagues I have in coaching and college coaching, and they know that the track we're on right now is not the one that's going to sustain the game. The game's never been more popular than it is right now, but I don't think the game's ever been in more jeopardy of us losing than right now, and particularly because of the money. There's way, way, way too much money in the game. I think you all know that. When I served as president of the association, I was asked many times, what's the advice you give as a coach to young coaches, young players? And it was very simple. Hey, coach the game for the right reason, play the game for the right reason, and the right reason can never be about money. And right now it is. That's why guys go to coach Ohio State to be millionaires. That's why guys go to play at Ohio State to be millionaires. Not because of the Buckeyes, not because they grew up in this state, not because we love Ohio State. No, it's because we want to be millionaires. And that motivation is not healthy. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind being a millionaire, but I'm not sure it's the right reason. And I'm sure in the long run, it's got to be fixed, because it eventually will destroy the game. That's just my opinion. Yes?
So in the last 2 or 3 years, we've had conference consolidation, expansion of the playoffs, NIL, all that. Where do you see the future of college football?
Well, we know there's going to be a super conference. There's a question about that. We know there's very little chance it's going to be a part of the NCAA. They'll have their own commissioner and run it like, professional, the National Football League. So, again, I'm sure it's not healthy. We also know that to continue to chase the money, that we need to keep the game going the direction it's now, that a lot of colleges will be selling their teams. They'll be selling to the biggest investor. Remember the days we tried to keep the boosters and the money away from the teams? Now they're going to own the teams. It's going to happen. It's just because you can't continue to support the kind of teams and the payroll of the coaches that we have right now without continuing to go out and find more money. And the only way to go out and find more money is not going to be from the colleges. It's going to be from private resources and boosters who want their hand in what's going on with college football. Whereas there's a lot of money to be made. We know that. So there'll be super conferences. The conferences will get smaller. League championships will be less relevant. Playoffs probably bigger because the revenue that it creates, not necessarily a good thing, but just because of the revenue that it creates. I just don't see a lot of positive things going on at that level of college football. There will be a lot of teams that are mid-major teams, or that aren't part of the Power 5, or even some part of the Power 5. I don't think we'll make that cut to that next level when it happens. I just don't think they'll have the resources to do it. And eventually the presidents and say enough's enough. We're not going to continue to spend this kind of money just to have a seat at the table. I love college football. Don't get me wrong, like every one of you do. It's been a big part of my life forever. And there's a lot of good things still going on. And it's the start of every season. The dreams those kids have, and the way they work their tail off to reach their goals, and come together and win those big games at the end of the year. I don't know if there's anything better than that. But I think we really have to be careful in terms of how we're running the game at this point. Yes.
Do you think mid-majors will stop playing football for lower divisions?
Lower division, I think, would be, I don't think they'll quit playing football. But again, it's getting harder and harder, even for schools in Division II, to afford what it costs to give scholarships and to play the game. Larry Karras had it right a long time ago. He says, I don't understand why more schools don't do it like Division III. We got guys who are here, we're not giving them scholarships. They're here because they want to be here. They're here because they love the game. And it's helping our enrollment. And at the same time, it's keeping our doors open. He made a lot of sense. We'll play football. It'll be a part of the fabric of every college and university. It's going to continue to be that. I just don't think we'll be able to continue to put the same amount of money and resources into the game that we're putting in right now. And here's the worst part of it. And I do not want to get political here, but the worst thing that could possibly happen is that Congress wants to take over. It's political now. It has become political. Have they ever got anything right? Do you really want those people you see saying, talking against them on those news networks, trying to figure out what to do with college football? I mean, that could be a disaster. Absolutely a disaster. Because it's never going to be about what's best for the players. It's never going to be about what's best for the game. It's only going to be best for them and their constituents and their opportunity to move on in the political world. We know that. There isn't an honest politician around. Maybe I'm wrong, but the last thing we do is want to put this decision on how to fix college football. Is there politicians in here, isn't there? I should say at that level. I'm not sure there's an honest politician. But anyhow, I don't think we're going to put the hands of the game into those folks. I don't think we have a chance once it goes there. There are a lot of folks out there that know what the game's all about, have coached the game at a lot of different levels, would fight to get it right and make sure we make the changes the way they be made for the betterment of the game, betterment of the players, and to make sure we don't lose what I think is one of the most important things in our country is football. I tell everybody, next to serving in the military, the lesson in life of those football players, that year of COVID that we lost, I was worried. That's our next generation's future leaders, and they're taking football away from them. It's worrisome. We need football. This country needs football. We need those young men tested in a tough situation, building character, and we just don't want to lose that game. Our game. Yes?
What about the effects of high school, on all this on high school?
It filters all the way down. There's agents out there. Most of the better players right now, particularly 4- or 5-star athletes, have agents, and they're getting a big cut, a big piece of the pie, which is just sad. I went through that when they first started getting agents in college, and at Ohio State and Akron, we'd have guys go behind the scenes, snakes agents that would get into the pockets of athletes and get them hooked so that they would have them once they left and would get drafted. They're doing the same thing in high school with families and players at a lot of levels. And really, we don't have a lot of control about that. And so we've got high school players who are getting recruited out of high schools all over the country to go play in prep schools, are basically recruiting factories, places where all the colleges are going to recruit in high school. And here's the worst part. In the last couple of years in the state of Ohio, there's been fewer Division I scholarships signed than ever before. I've coached than ever before I've coached. Fewer scholarships. Less high school players are getting scholarships because they're all taking players that are transferring from one school to the next because of the portal. Now, it's been good for our friends down at Division II football because they're getting a lot of guys who have normally been max scholarships in the past, and they're falling to that level. And guys are playing Division II and Division III football that would have been scholarship players. I was telling Jack, there's a really good high school quarterback. down in our area, and he had Big Ten offers, and he actually turned them all down because the one Big Ten offer he did have was Ohio State. That's where he wanted to go. And so he's ended up taking a scholarship at a mid-major school only because he thinks if he plays well there, and they've told him this, and they've started and he plays well, he'll give him a chance to get recruited to Ohio State. Because that's the big schools, the major schools, the great schools right now, they're not recruiting the quarterbacks out of high school unless you're, one or two coming out. And they're basically taking quarterbacks that are already playing at other colleges. And so that's literally the line they use to recruit it. So, is it impacting high school football? Absolutely. Everything's going on is different. The way you recruit today is different than it's ever been before. It's not about building relationships. I talk about important relationships are, no. It's just how big is your checkbook. And that decides where you go to school, where you visit. That's how you recruit now. You recruit boosters to pay guys money so they'll come to your school. Just totally against anything we ever thought about growing up as college coaches or high school coaches. Just didn't happen. It's a completely different game. But it's fun to watch them play. The Buckeyes look good. I think they're in line of another great season. Let's hope so. Hey, thanks so much for your time, your questions.